They called us monsters until something worse crawled out of the dark and called us kin. The stars had forgotten Earth's fire. For 2 centuries, humanity had drifted, fragmented, bloodied, scattered across shattered colonies like ash on the wind. Earth was a myth, its coordinates scrubbed from galactic records, its voice silenced beneath the iron boot of the Kirak Dominion. Millions of human survivors clung to dead moons and hollowed asteroids, hunted, hidden, haunted. They whispered stories of old Earth under flickering lights, clutching makeshift weapons as Kirak patrols swept closer with each cycle. But among them walked a woman whose blood remembered. Her name was Alkari, and the scars on her back told the story of the Flame Wars. She was born in the sub-ice mining barrens of Nox Delta, a death moon buried under Kirak command for its strategic ore veins. Her mother had vanished into a labor camp when Alara was 8. Her father shot in front of her for singing the Terran anthem during shift change. She had survived, hardened, risen from darkness with one law etched into her bones. We are not extinct until we stop fighting. Now, 30 years later, she commanded the last unbroken Terran resistance cell, Ghost Flame, a whispered name in Kirak war briefings, a ghost story among slave worlds. She was not the last human, but she was the last one the Dominion feared. Today, the calms were silent. That wasn't normal. Alara stood in the darkened war chamber carved from the veins of the moon's basalt, watching the sensor screen flicker. Normally, her scouts picked up at least 10 Dominion cruisers orbiting the sector. Their absence wasn't peace. It was a storm crouching in silence. Still no pings, she asked. No. Commander, said Rourke, her chief tech, a one-armed engineer who'd rewired half the base with scrap and prayers. The network's not jammed. They're just gone. Alara narrowed her eyes. She didn't trust hope, not in this galaxy. She turned to the long-range relay station, their last hope to send word beyond the Dominion's reach. Last week, a scout ship had stumbled on a derelict, not Kirak, not human, something old, something worse. It had taken Alara 6 sleepless nights to decipher the glyphs etched along its walls. 6 nights of hallucinations, dreams of planets burning and voices whispering in extinct tongues. They're waking up. She had muttered to Rourke, voice hoarse, not from sleep, from hunger. And then the Kirak fleets had vanished. She turned to Rourke now. Give me a connection to Silo Vanis. They need to hear this. They're offline too, he said. Not destroyed, just powered down, like they went dark on purpose. Her gut clenched. Something wasn't right. She tapped her comm bracelet. Activate protocol, Ember. Prepare the evac paths. We're going off-grid. Rourke's face twitched. You think they're here? No, she whispered. I think they're already inside. A sudden tremor shook the base. Lights flickered. Screams erupted from the hallway. Alara drew her sidearm and ran. Down the corridor, past walls lined with burn marks from years of desperate defense, into the docking bay and stopped cold. Hovering in the center of the bay was a creature from no known species, black as void, shaped like liquid bone, its limbs flexed in impossible geometries, flickering between states of matter. No eyes, no face, only presence dot around it. Her guards lay dead, not injured, not vaporized, unmade. Rourke's voice came through the comms. Commander, we've just intercepted a burst signal. Auto-decoded. It's not Kirak. Then what the hell is it? It said one word. Kin. Alara stared at the thing in the hangar. It didn't attack. Didn't move. It waited. Something about it stirred her memory, not from books or war reports, but from human instinct. From the deep lizard brain screaming that the thing in front of her was death. Evolved. Not cruel. Not evil. Simply inevitable. She lowered her weapon slowly, and the creature turned its head, or what passed for a head, toward her. Alara can, it said, its voice like rust cracking open a tomb. The Kirak hunted you. We consumed the Kirak. What are you? She asked. It said one word. Alkari. The name rang like a cord plucked from the void. Fable. Forbidden. Something older than empires. Spoken in mist to frighten conquerors. Alara didn't blink. Why are you here? To remember what it means to burn. And then it was gone. Vanished in the black mist. Only silence remained. But in her bones, Alara knew something ancient had shifted. The stars had just blinked hand when they opened. Again, everything would be different. She turned back to the screen. Rourke, find me the old Terran Kirak war archives. I think our monsters just found their match. Asterisk. The cold silence of the docking bay was suffocating. But Alara Ken's mind churned like a supernova about to erupt. The Alkari. The name alone stirred echoes of ancient galactic legends. An alien species whispered about in forgotten halls and secret archives, a species of predators so ruthless that even the mighty Kirak feared them. They were supposed to be extinct, wiped out in wars older than any Terran record could verify. And yet here one was, speaking her name with the weight of inevitability. Consume the Kirak, she muttered, pacing before the flickering holomap. If that's true, why did the Kirak vanish from Nox Delta's orbit? Why didn't the Alkari come for us? Rourke shook his head, his mechanical arm clinking softly. Maybe they're not done yet. Maybe they're hunting the hunters, Alara's eyes burned with fierce resolve. Or maybe they're here for us. Her mind raced back to the day she lost her family, to the cold executions on Earth's last free worlds, to the blood-soaked trails that led them here hidden in the ruins of dead colonies. Fighting a losing battle, the Kirak Dominion was a nightmare, but the Alkari were something else, something apocalyptic. She slumped into her chair. A weight settled on her chest, heavier than the dark vacuum outside. The war was never over. It had only changed. Suddenly, her comm signal crackled to life, static, then a voice strained, desperate and familiar. Alara, this is Silo Vandis. We have a problem. The silo was a heavily fortified outpost, a human enclave carved into a long-dead asteroid. If the Dominion's pressure was the noose, the silo was the last knot holding tight. Speak, Alara demanded. Reports of Alkari vessels detected. Near the outer belt. Silent. Deadly. The Kirak fleet never stood a chance. Rourke's fingers danced on the console. They're fast. Adaptive. They dismantle entire battle groups like children's toys. Alara's jaw clenched. How many survivors? Almost none. Those who fled say the Alkari consume not just ships, but the minds inside. Assimilate the memories and skills of their victims. A cold dread seeped into her veins. The Alkari were not just killers. They were living weapons. An evolving threat born from the ashes of the Dominion itself. She stared into the swirling starfield on the holomap. The cold pinpricks of light flickering in the void like the last sparks of a dying fire. This was no longer just a war for survival. It was extinction on a cosmic scale. Suddenly, her visor blinked, a private comm channel activating without her consent. Alara Ken. The voice was smooth, metallic, and utterly alien. Her heart thudded. I am Vortha, emissary of the Alkari Ascendancy. Alara's hand instinctively went to her weapon, but Vortha's tone was calm, almost respectful. We do not come as conquerors. Not yet. We seek alliance. Alliance, Alara spat, voice dripping with bitterness. You wiped out the Kirak. You destroyed entire systems. You consumed minds. You are no ally. Yet you survived them. Your species thrives in defiance. That is why we chose to speak. Alara's eyes narrowed. Why now? Why reach out to a human rebel? Because the Dominion's collapse was a mistake. Vortha said, the galaxy is dying. A far greater threat approaches, one that will consume everything. We Alkari and humans must unite or perish. Alara's breath caught. The flickering embers of hope and fear collided in her chest. Prove this threat. The Voidborn. An ancient intelligence beyond comprehension. They devour stars and sap the life from worlds. We barely survived their advance. For a long moment, the room was silent, the weight of those words settling deep. Alara closed her eyes and let the memory of loss wash over her, the faces of fallen friends. The screams in the dark, the crushing hopelessness she had refused to accept. Show me this threat, she said at last. And why should I trust you? Vortha's voice softened, almost human in its gravity. Because the alternative is oblivion. As the transmission ended, Alara's thoughts spiraled into chaos. Was this a trap? An alien scheme to control what remained of humanity, or the desperate truth from a species that knew the universe's end? She looked to Rourke, who simply said, we don't have a choice. We either fight together or die apart. That night, sleep eluded Alara. She wandered the corridors of the base, haunted by the ghosts of past wars and the terrifying possibility that the galaxy's fate hinged on a fragile and uneasy alliance. She found herself standing before a battered mural etched into the cavern wall, the ancient Terran crest, fractured but unbowed. The human spirit was stubborn as the stars themselves. Tomorrow, she would speak with the Council of Resistance leaders. Tomorrow, she would decide if humanity's salvation lay with the deadliest predator in the galaxy or with their own fading strength. But tonight, One truth burned brighter than fear. The war was no longer human. It was cosmic. It was elemental, and the galaxy was trembling. They say the stars never lie, but sometimes they whisper secrets only the brave dare to hear. Alara Ken stood before the shattered remnants of the Terran Resistance Council, their faces grim beneath the harsh, flickering lights of the hidden sanctuary on Nox Delta. The air was thick with tension and fatigue. Years of guerrilla warfare had worn them down, but now, faced with the cold reality of the Alkari Alliance proposal, every eye was filled with desperate hope and quiet fear. An alliance with the Alkari, muttered Lasadreth, the aging war tactician with 1,000 battles etched into her skin. Our sworn enemy, offering friendship like a blade wrapped in silk. Alara's voice cut through the murmurs. We have no choice. The Voidborn advanced beyond any force we've faced. If we stand divided, every human world dies. Every colony falls silent. The Alkari possess weapons, technology, knowledge older than even the Kirak. A heavy silence answered her words. Trust is a currency we no longer have, Lysa said, but survival demands risks. The council was fractured, a mix of hardened veterans, cynical diplomats, and youthful idealists who had only known the horrors of war. Each carried scars deeper than flesh, but in their eyes shone the same stubborn flame. Humanity would not bow. Alara nodded. I have sent envoys to the Alkari. They await our decision in the sector's neutral zone. Tonight, we decide if we join forces or face extinction alone. As the council dispersed, Alara retreated to the command center. She activated the encrypted channel to the Alkari emissary. VORTHA. The holo-image shimmered to life, a shifting form of black void, translucent, bones and glowing circuits intertwined. Yet, behind the alien geometry, Alara sensed a depth of purpose and something eerily familiar. Vortha, she began, tell me, what price does the Alkari ask for this alliance? We demand transparency and trust. No deception, no ancient grudges. Together, we share knowledge and strength against the Voidborn. The galaxy's fate depends on our unity. Alara paused, searching for hidden threats in his calm tone. Finding none, she pressed further. Your species is feared for consuming minds and ships alike. How can we know you won't betray us once this threat is gone? Vortha's form pulsed softly. We are hunters, yes, but we are also survivors. The Voidborn are a predator unlike any other. Even we must adapt. This alliance is born of necessity, not conquest. The alien's words echoed Alara's own convictions. Survival through unity. The burning need to rise above the darkness died as they spoke. Scouts reported a new disturbance near the outer colonies. The Voidborn fleet, a blackened swarm of star-devouring vessels, had breached the outer rim, swallowing light and life with terrifying speed. Alara's heart hammered. Prepare. Ghost flame for immediate deployment, she ordered. We strike first, not out of hope, but defiance. She gathered her closest officers, Rourke, whose mechanical ingenuity was legendary, Milavos, the pilot with reflexes sharp as a comet's tail, and Idris Harlan, the strategist who had seen too many friends die, but never faltered. Tonight, Alara said, voice steady but fierce, we light a fire that will shake the stars. The Voidborn will learn that humans do not go quietly into oblivion. The mission was clear, but deadly. Disrupt Voidborn supply lines, sow chaos, and prove to the galaxy that humanity was far from broken. Ghost Flame stealth frigates slipped through the void like shadows, threading through debris fields and asteroid belts. Alara's squad moved with precision, each fighter a testament to human innovation forged in desperation. As they neared the first target, a Voidborn resource node, sucking the life from a dying star, Alara's mind drifted to her mother's voice, a distant echo from childhood. We are fire. We are relentless. The attack began with ferocity. Missiles streaked through the blackness. Lasers lanced across the void, and the once mythical Alkari warriors fought alongside Terran soldiers, their alien forms weaving through the chaos like living weapons died despite the overwhelming enemy. Ghost Flame struck a decisive blow. The resource node exploded in a cascade of radiant light, disrupting the Voidborn's advance and buying precious time for human worlds. But victory came at a cost. Idris' flagship took a fatal blow. The explosion rocked the squadron. Idris' last message crackled through. For humanity, hold the line. The loss hit Alara like a blow to the chest, but her spirit refused to break. Idris died as we all must facing the abyss with unyielding will, she said, voice thick with grief. Tonight, we are not just survivors. We are the spark that will ignite the galaxy's hope. Back on Nox Delta, the news spread like wildfire across hidden outposts and shattered worlds. Humans raised their voices in defiant roar. Allies old and new joined in. Scavenged fleets reactivated. Forgotten weapons fired once more. In the depths of space, the unthinkable alliance between humanity and the Alkari began to take shape, not as a fragile truce, but a formidable storm. Yet, as Alara watched the stars burn brighter in the command center, a shadow lurked beyond the veil, a reminder that even allies could hide secrets and the galaxy's darkest hour was far from over. The stars seemed to burn hotter, but the darkness was closing in faster. Alara Ken stood at the heart of the command chamber, eyes fixed on the flickering holomap. The first strike had ignited a spark of hope among the scattered human survivors, but the victory was Pyrrhic, a fragile candle flickering against the black winds of a storm. Reports arrived like shards of ice. Voidborn fleets multiplied with terrifying speed, engulfing systems in silent death. The Alkari, despite their prowess, struggled to hold the front lines. Worse, there were whispers, unconfirmed transmissions of Alkari vessels disappearing, their crews unresponsive, their technology corrupted from within. Alara's jaw clenched. The enemy was evolving, and so was the battlefield. Commander, Rorik's voice broke through the tension. Our intel indicates that the Voidborn can corrupt Alkari bioconstructs. It's like they're turning their own weapons against them. Alara's heart sank. The alliance they had forged was fragile and the Voidborn were testing its limits. Across the room, Myla Voss grimaced as she tapped her data pad. Our fleet took heavy casualties last sortie. Several key commanders lost. We're losing momentum. Alara felt the weight of every lost life as though it were her own. Each sacrifice, a blow to humanity's stubborn will, opened comms to the Alkari High Command. She ordered, "We need answers and fast." The alien emissary's form shimmered onto the holoscreen, his usual calm fractured by worry. Alara Ken, Vortha intoned, "The Voidborn are not mere invaders. They are a parasitic intelligence that consumes both matter and mind. Our biosystems have been compromised. We face internal sabotage." Alara's breath hitched. Betrayal within their ranks? The alliance was cracking. "Is there a way to stop it?" she asked. Vortha's form flickered. "Not with current technology. We need to evolve our defenses." The room fell into uneasy silence. Then, chaos shattered the fragile calm dot and explosion rocked. The base. Alarms blared. Smoke billowed from the eastern sector. "Sabotage!" Rourke yelled. Sprinting towards the source, Alara grabbed her weapon and followed, heart pounding. They arrived to find the engineering bay ablaze, systems offline, and a trail of destruction leading to a collapsed tunnel. Dot from the shadows emerged a wounded figure human, but with eyes wild and haunted. "I'm Cade," the stranger gasped. "I was sent to warn you. There's a faction within the resistance, plotting to betray us to the Dominion remnants." Alara stared, disbelief and rage warring inside her. Why, she demanded, fear, desperation. Some believe the Dominion's rule is the only way to survive. They see the Alkari alliance as a death sentence. Betrayal from within, the cruelest wound of all. Alara clenched her fists. "We fight together or we die divided." Kate nodded weakly. "There's more. The Voidborn are advancing on Nox Delta. They've located us. The sanctuary, humanity's last stronghold, was about to fall." Alara's mind raced. She called an emergency council. "Prepare defenses. Evacuate non-combatants. Ghost Flame will hold the line." Myla's voice was fierce. "This isn't their reckoning." The night sky above Nox Delta blazed with the fire of approaching fleets. Voidborn vessels, black and writhing, emerged like nightmares given form. The Alkari fought valiantly alongside humans, but the parasite's corrupting influence spread, turning allies into threats. In the chaos, Alara found herself face to face with a former friend turned traitor, Lassa Dreth. "Why?" Alara's voice cracked with sorrow and fury. Lassa's eyes were cold. "I do what I must. The resistance is fractured. This war is lost." "No," Alara said, voice steel. "Not while I breathe." Their confrontation was brutal, not just of weapons, but of ideals. Lassa lunged, but Alara's training held. She disarmed her, then lowered her weapon. "We fight together," Alara said, panting, "or we all perish." Lassa hesitated, torn. Outside, the battle raged. Starfire lit the void as ships collided, weapons blazing, lives shattering. In the final moments before the breach, Alara broadcast a message across all human channels. To those who still stand, who still fight, this is our hour. The darkness will not consume us. We are humanity. We burn brightest in the blackest night. The Voidborn struck the base's shields with terrifying force. Systems failed. Walls cracked. But Ghost Flame held firm, buying time for evacuation. Alara fought with everything she had, rallying soldiers, repelling invaders, refusing to yield. When the dust settled, the sanctuary was crippled, but not broken. Alara looked over the survivors, wounded, weary, yet alive. We are fractured, she said, voice raw. But the human spirit endures. We will rebuild. We will rise. Rourke approached, battered but alive. They'll come again, he said. Alara nodded. And we will be waiting. The galaxy was darker now. The enemy was closer. But so was humanity's unbreakable will. The war was no longer just survival. It was a test of soul. And Alara Ken vowed they would not fail. The silence after the storm was heavier than any battle roar. Nox Delta lay scarred and shattered, its tunnels riddled with cracks and bodies. Yet, in the stillness, Alara Ken stood resolute, a pillar of unyielding defiance. The latest assault had left the resistance fractured, but not broken. The betrayal, the losses, the creeping corruption, each had tested the very core of their survival. But now, the truth whispered by Vortha echoed loud and clear in her mind. The Voidborn were not merely devourers. They were the galaxy's reckoning. Alara gathered her commanders in the war chamber. The flickering holomap showed the expanding Voidborn swarm, an endless wave devouring stars, swallowing entire systems in black hunger. We can't fight them with ships and guns alone, Alara said, voice steady but grim. We need something else, something forgotten. Rourke stepped forward, eyes gleaming. There's a legend-old Terran tech buried deep beneath Earth's surface. Project Lazarus, a weapon designed for the worst war imaginable. It never fired. It was lost with the fall of Earth. Alara's heart thundered. A secret weapon. A last hope. Where is it now? In the ruins of old Earth, Rourke answered. Under the ice, deep beneath the polar ice caps. The room fell silent. Earth, their cradle, their grave was out of reach. Cut off by Dominion patrols and cosmic storms. We can't just go back, Malava said, her voice tight. We've tried. It's a tomb, or a tomb waiting to be reopened, Alara replied. Vortha's hologram shimmered nearby. The Alkari have data on Project Lazarus. We can help you reach it, but the journey will be perilous. The Voidborn know of Earth's secrets, a dangerous alliance, yes, but also the sliver of salvation. Alara's mind burned with memories, her mother's lullabies, her father's last song. The earth beneath her feet long gone. We prepare a mission, Alara declared. A small team will strike through Dominion lines, through the Voidborn shadows. We reclaim what was lost or die trying. Rourke looked at her, determination etched on his scarred face. I'm with you, Mila nodded sharply, and Alara's eyes met Vortha's shifting gaze. And you, we will guide you, he said, because the galaxy's end is not written yet. The plan was reckless, desperate, and maybe humanity's last. Alara stood before the assembled crew in the shadowed hangar, ships refitted for stealth, armed with scavenged weaponry and alien tech, hummed quietly. This mission is more than a battle. It's a pilgrimage to the heart of humanity's past, to reclaim its future. As they launched through the veil of darkness, Alara's thoughts drifted to Idris Harlan, fallen but unforgotten, to Lassadreth, whose betrayal had shaken them all. The stars passed like ghosts outside her viewport. Time felt stretched and fragile. Days later, after navigating through Dominion patrols and Voidborn-infested sectors, the team approached the ghostly silhouette of Earth. The planet was cloaked in ice, silent and still. But beneath that frozen tomb lay the secrets of Project Lazarus. Alara's ship descended through battered atmosphere, dodging crumbling satellites and electrical storms. On the surface, they faced a frozen wasteland, jagged cliffs and shattered ruins. The ruins of human civilization. Rourke led the expedition underground, through tunnels choked with ice and memories. Deep beneath, they found a vault sealed by ancient codes. Systems hummed weakly. This was no ordinary weapon, Rourke said, voice odd. It's a fusion of AI, biology, and energy, a living weapon. Alara touched the cold console, a weapon designed to end wars, to end enemies. But as they activated the system, alarms blared. Outside, the Voidborn swarm had followed. Vortha's voice crackled. They have arrived. Your window is closing. The vault walls shook as monstrous shapes breached the surface. Alara turned to her team. This is no longer a mission of survival. This is a war for existence. She placed her hand on the activation panel. The system roared to life. Lights blazed. Energy surged through the chamber. Project Lazarus awoke, and with it, a new dawn for humanity, born from ice, fire, and unbreakable. Well, faster, the chill of Earth's forgotten vault seeped into Alara Ken's bones. But inside the chamber, a furious fire ignited, the awakening of Project Lazarus. The ancient weapon, long silent beneath the ice, now pulsed with energy. A fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology melded in secret before the fall of Earth. Alara's breath came steady, but heavy. Around her, the team worked feverishly, synchronizing the reactivation protocols. Outside, the looming shadow of the Voidborn swarm cast a black pall over the world's last bastion. Vortha's voice crackled through their calms, grave and urgent. The Voidborn advance is imminent. Your window for activation narrows. Once Project Lazarus is fully operational, it will broadcast a pulse, a signal designed to disrupt the Voidborn's hive mind. Alara glanced at the glowing interface, its cryptic alien glyphs dancing before her eyes. She felt the weight of the moment settle deep within her chest. We may only get one chance, she said quietly. No mistakes. Rourke, wiping frost from his visor, met her gaze. The entire galaxy is watching, even if they don't know it yet. Suddenly, the vault shuddered violently. A shockwave rattled the cavern. The Voidborn had breached the surface, their tendrils spreading, consuming everything in their path. Milovas's voice cut through the tension. Hostiles are breaching the perimeter. We need more time. Alara drew her sidearm and moved toward the entrance. Hold them back. We finish this, or we die with the rest of humanity. Outside, the battle erupted in desperate fury. Ghost flame fighters engaged Voidborn bioships, their plasma beams carving streaks of light through the void. Alkari warriors fought with brutal precision, their forms shifting and contorting to match the enemy's ferocity. Back in the vault, Alara worked alongside Rourke, their fingers dancing over alien consoles, aligning frequencies, and bypassing ancient safeguards. The pulse generator thrummed louder, energy spiraling in a symphony of light and sound. But then, an alarm screamed. Corruption detected in the core matrix. Rourke shouted, Voidborn infestation spreading inside the system. Alara's heart stopped. The weapon itself was under attack. Contain the breach, she ordered, firing at the approaching tendrils of darkness creeping along the floor. Vortha's form flickered beside her. The Voidborn aimed to seize Project Lazarus for their own ends. This weapon is a double-edged sword. If they corrupt it, the hive mind could grow unstoppable. Alara's mind raced. We have to finish activation before the system falls. Every second was a lifetime as the crew fought to purge the corruption. Sparks flew. The air thickened with tension. Alara's vision blurred with sweat and exhaustion. And then, with a final surge, the pulse generator reached critical mass. Now, she commanded. Rourke initiated the broadcast. A wave of energy rippled outward, tearing through the vault's walls and into the icy sky. The stars themselves seemed to shudder. Across the void, the Voidborn swarm convulsed, their dark forms flickering and fracturing. The hive mind screamed in pain and rage. Alara felt a surge of hope. The pulse was working, but victory was not yet assured. The Voidborn retaliated with fury unmatched. A massive warship broke through the defenders' lines, aiming directly for the vault. Alara's voice was steel. All hands, defend the core. The battle outside escalated to a crescendo. Explosions lit the frozen horizon. Missiles streaked across the sky, and cries of defiance echoed through calms. Alara stood firm amidst the chaos, the pulse generator glowing brighter, humming with life. We are humanity, she whispered. We are fire in the dark. As the Voidborn warship closed in, Vortha's form shimmered one last time. Hold the line, Alara Ken. The galaxy depends on this moment. With a roar, the combined forces of humans and Alkari pushed back the enemy, buying precious moments for the pulse to ripple deeper into space. Then, silence. The weapon's final surge erupted, a beacon of raw, unstoppable power, piercing the void. For a moment, the galaxy held its breath. The pulse cascaded through the void, a beacon blazing across light years, shattering the Voidborn's terrifying hive mind like a storm fracturing ice. For the first time in centuries, the endless shadow that devoured stars faltered. Alara Ken. stood on the bridge of the flagship Ghost Flame, her eyes blazing as the vast war theater unfolded before her like a symphony of defiance. Around her, humans and Alkari fought side by side, their combined fury a testament to resilience born in fire and ice. The Voidborn warships convulsed and exploded in spirals of black energy, their tentacles twitching as their corrupted minds collapsed from the pulse's crushing weight. The galaxy trembled at the sight. A victory once thought impossible, but Alara knew better than to celebrate too soon. A deeper darkness lurked within the Voidborn core, a monstrous intelligence, beyond comprehension that still stirred, desperate to survive. The hive mind is fracturing, Rourke reported, his voice tense. But there's a centralized core vessel, a living fortress. If it falls, the Voidborn will collapse. Alara's gaze sharpened. Then that's where we end this. She ordered the fleet to converge on the Voidborn core, a massive, grotesque entity pulsing with nightmarish energy. As they advanced, the Voidborn unleashed their final fury. Black waves of psychic energy surged, battering human minds, twisting allies against each other. Alkari warriors screamed as the hive's corruption clawed into their souls. Alara gritted her teeth. The enemy sought to break their spirits, to drown their hope in despair, but humanity's strength was forged in adversity. Hold the line, she roared. Remember who we are. The battle reached its crescendo in the swirling chaos above the Voidborn core. Ships collided in a ballet of fire and shadow. Alara's own fighter, piloted by Milavos, danced through enemy fire, laying down precision strikes to open a path. Alara boarded the assault shuttle with a hand-picked team, the last hope to plant the pulse device directly into the core. The shuttle pierced the warped veil of the Voidborn fortress, alarm screaming as tendrils lashed and shrieked inside the core. The air was thick with malevolent energy, suffocating yet alive. Alara's hand trembled only briefly as she planted the device. The culmination of humanity's desperate gamble. The countdown began. Get us out of here, she commanded. The team sprinted through collapsing corridors, the hive mind's death throes lashing out in fury. Just as they reached the exit, the core began to implode, a starless supernova of destruction. They ejected seconds before the fortress exploded, a wave of energy washing over the fleet. The pulse detonated galaxy-wide, severing the Voidborn psychic chains, fracturing their swarm into oblivion. The silence that followed was overwhelming. Alara's calm crackled. Vorth's shimmering form appeared, weary but resolute. It is done, he said. The Voidborn are no more. Alara closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. Years of pain, sacrifice, and endless battle converged into a single, blazing moment. The galaxy had witnessed the impossible. The deadliest species, once enemies, united to defy extinction. And humanity, stubborn as ever, had burned brightest in the darkest night. They said the galaxy would forget humanity, that the stars would blink once, then close their cold eyes forever. But the stars carried our name. The first light of dawn broke over the battered surface of Nox Delta, casting long shadows across the crater landscape. The air was still heavy with the scent of burnt plasma and scorched stone, but amid the ruin, a fragile new hope blossomed. Alara Kent stood on the ridge overlooking the settlement, a skeleton of what once was, now humming faintly with renewed life. Survivors moved among the ruins, tending wounds, clearing debris, and rebuilding what had been shattered. The war was over, but its scars ran deep. The cost had been unbearable. Millions lost, worlds consumed, alliances forged in desperation, some frayed by suspicion. The galaxy had stood on the edge of annihilation, and humanity, alongside the Alkari, had pulled it back. Alara's gaze lifted to the sky, a tapestry of stars, once again unshrouded from darkness. They flickered like silent witnesses to the saga written in blood and fire. Beside her, Vorth's translucent form shimmered softly. The Voidborn threat has been extinguished, the Alkari emissary said, voice solemn. But the galaxy is forever changed. Alara nodded, her heart heavy yet unbowed. We survived, not because of strength alone, but because we dared to stand together, even with former enemies. The Alkari and humanity had shared more than weapons and strategies. They had shared trust born from necessity, a painful yet profound understanding that survival demanded unity. Yet, questions lingered. What would come next? Would old rivalries rekindle? Would the galaxy heal or fracture anew? Alara did not have answers, only the burning certainty that this was their moment to shape the future. A new dawn across the scattered human colonies, messages echoed. Broadcasts declared the end of the Voidborn menace. Celebrations flared, tears of relief and sorrow mingling, as survivors remembered the fallen. Alara's voice resonated through the communication networks. The Voidborn may be gone, but our fight for survival and dignity continues. Let this victory be the dawn of a new era, one where humanity and its allies shape the galaxy with courage and compassion. In distant star systems, the Alkari Council convened for the first time in centuries, their ancient halls now hosting representatives from human worlds. Vortha stood among them, a symbol of change. Let this alliance endure, he declared, not as a mere truce, but as a foundation for peace. The cost of survival in the quiet hours, Alara reflected on the sacrifices. She thought of Idris Harlan, whose last stand had bought them precious time, of Lysadreth, whose betrayal and redemption had embodied the complexity of human nature, of Rourke and Mila, whose unwavering loyalty had kindled sparks of victory. Her own scars, both physical and emotional, a testament to humanity's resilience. Yet, she knew the cost was far from over. The Voidborn's destruction had left ripples, unstable star systems, fractured economies, and displaced populations. Many human worlds lay vulnerable. The Dominion remnants, though shattered, still plotted in shadows, and the fragile peace with the Alkari demanded constant vigilance. Alara's role as leader was not ended. It had only evolved. Memory and legacy in the grand halls of Nox Delta. A memorial took shape, etched in crystal and metal, telling the story of humanity's darkest hours and brightest flames. Names of the fallen gleamed beneath the stars. Histories that would never be forgotten. Alara stood before the monument, joined by survivors and allies alike. We were broken, she spoke, voice steady with conviction, but we were never beaten. She looked to the crowd, faces weary yet hopeful. This is our legacy, not just of war, but of unity, of hope, and of relentless spirit. Among the gathered was a young girl, clutching a worn Terran flag. Alara knelt beside her. Remember this, she said softly, we carry the fire forward. The galaxy remembers news of humanity, and Alkari's victory rippled through the galactic community. Old empires took notice. New alliances formed. Even the once feared Dominion began tentative overtures of peace. Recognizing the new balance of power, Alara received a transmission, a message from a distant alien race. Long estranged from the galactic stage, your courage has rekindled hope across the stars, it said. May this be the beginning of a lasting peace. The galaxy, once fractured by fear and war, had glimpsed a future forged in the fires of cooperation. A lasting flame. Years passed. Nox Delta transformed from a battlefield to a beacon, a symbol of survival and renewal. Children grew, taught stories of Earth, of the Voidborn, and of the alliance that had saved them all. Alara, now aged but still fierce, watched as new leaders emerged, humans and Alkari working side by side, guiding the galaxy toward an uncertain but hopeful future. Her final thoughts were simple yet profound. The war had tested humanity's limits, but it had also revealed their essence: stubbornness, unity, sacrifice, and above all, hope. And as the stars carried their names into eternity, Alara whispered one last truth to the night sky. That day, the galaxy learned what it means to be human.